I watched myself leave my house while I was still inside. And the worst part is, no one else thought that was a problem. It happened on a Tuesday morning. Nothing special about IT.no storm. No power outage. No weird tension in the air. Just normal life. I woke up at 6:40 a.m., same as always. Alarm didn't even need to go off anymore. My body had learned the routine. Shower. Coffee. Silence. My wife was already gone. Early shift at the hospital. My daughter still asleep upstairs. The house felt empty. Not quiet. Empty. There's a difference. Quiet is peaceful. Empty feels like something is missing that shouldn't be. I remember standing in the kitchen, pouring coffee, staring out the window. Same view I've had for 8 years. Driveway. Mailbox. Neighbor's fence slightly leaning to the left. Nothing ever changes. That's why I noticed it immediately. My car was already running. I didn't hear it start. Didn't see anyone go outside. But there it was. Headlights on. Engine humming. Driver's door closed. I just stood there for a second, mug in my hand, trying to catch up to what I was seeing. Because there are only a few logical explanations for something like that. Someone stole your car. You forgot you started it. Or someone else is in it. I set the mug down slowly. Walked toward the front door. Unlocked it. Opened it just enough to step outside. Cold air hit me immediately. Sharp. Real. The kind that wakes you up whether you want it or not. I looked at the car again. Still running. Still empty as far as I could see. No movement inside. No silhouette. Nothing. I stepped closer. Gravel crunching under my feet. And that's when the driver's door opened. On its own. Slow. Controlled. Like someone inside had just pushed it. My body stopped moving before my brain did. Because now we were past confusing. Now we were in something's wrong territory. Hello. I called out. No response. Of course. Because if someone was in there, they weren't going to answer like it was normal. I took another step forward. Then another. Until I could see inside. The seat was empty. Keys in the ignition. Everything exactly how I left it the night before. Except for one thing. The seat position. It was slightly further back. Not much. But enough. Enough that I noticed. Because I don't move my seat. Ever. I'm particular about things like that. Always have been. I stood there, staring at it, trying to decide if I was overreacting. Maybe I adjusted it yesterday and forgot. Maybe. The door slammed shut. Loud. Sudden. Right in front of me. I flinched. Actually flinched. And I don't do that. Not usually. My heart kicked up fast now. Real fear. Not confusion anymore. I reached for the door handle again. Opened it. Nothing changed. Still empty. Still running. Still wrong. I leaned in and turned the engine off. The silence that followed felt heavy. Like the house behind me was watching. I stepped back slowly, closed the door, locked the car, then turned around. And that's when everything got worse. Because my front door was open, wider than I left it. I know exactly how far I opened it. Just enough to step out. But now, it was halfway open, and I didn't hear it move. Didn't hear footsteps. Didn't hear anything. Just that quiet, empty house, with a door that wasn't supposed to be open. I stood there for a second, trying to think, trying to be rational. Maybe the wind. Maybe it didn't latch properly. Maybe something moved inside. Not fast. Not obvious. Just enough. A shift in the shadows. And suddenly, I didn't want to go back in. Which didn't make sense. Because it's my house. My space. My routine. But something about it now felt like I was the one who didn't belong there. I took a breath. Stepped forward. Pushed the door open. Slowly. Carefully. The hallway looked normal. Shoes by the wall. Coat hanging exactly where I left it. Nothing out of place. But the air felt different. Like the house had been used while I was outside. I stepped in. Closed the door behind me. Locked it. Listened. Nothing. No footsteps upstairs. No doors closing. No movement. Just silence. But again, not the peaceful kind. The kind that feels like it's holding something back. I walked into the kitchen. My coffee mug was still there. Steam gone now. Cold. Untouched. Exactly how I left it. Except, it was on the other side of the counter. I stopped. Completely. Because I didn't put it there. I know I didn't. I remember setting it down near the sink. Left side. Not right. Not even close. I walked over slowly. Looked at it. Like it might explain itself. It didn't. Of course. Because objects don't move on their own. Except, this one did. Or someone moved it. While I was outside. While I was watching my car. While I was trying to figure out something that didn't make sense. Something else was already happening behind me. Inside my house. I felt it then. Clear. Sharp. Not panic. Not yet. But pressure. Like something was building. Something I couldn't see. But was already too close. I turned toward the hallway. Looked up at the stairs. My daughter's room was up there. Still closed. Still quiet. And for a second, I thought about going up. Checking on her. Making sure everything was normal. But something stopped me. Because if I went up there, and something wasn't normal, I wouldn't be able to ignore it anymore. I'd have to face it. And I wasn't sure I was ready for that yet. So instead, I stayed where I was. In the kitchen. Staring at a coffee mug that shouldn't have moved. In a house that didn't feel like mine anymore. Trying to convince myself that there was a simple explanation. That I was just tired. Distracted. Missing small details. But deep down, I already knew. This wasn't about forgetting things. This wasn't about stress. Because there was one detail I couldn't ignore. The one thing that didn't fit into any explanation. While I looked back out the window, at my car in the driveway, I realized something I hadn't noticed before. The driver's seat was already back in my position. Exactly where I keep it. Perfect. Like it had never been moved at all. And that's when the thought hit me. Quiet. Precise. And impossible to shake. If no one was in the car, and I never left the house, then who? Started the engine? And more importantly, who came back inside? I didn't go upstairs right away. That's the part one keep replaying. Because maybe if I had, maybe something would have made sense sooner. But instead, I stayed in the kitchen, staring at that mug like it was going to explain itself. Like if I looked long enough, the logic would come back. It didn't. So I did the only thing that felt even remotely controlled. I checked the house. Slowly. Methodically. Like if I followed a system, I could keep things grounded. Living room first. Nothing. Couch untouched. TV off. Remote exactly where I left it. Then the hallway closet. Closed, still locked. Bathroom. Empty. Mirror fogged slightly from earlier, but nothing unusual. Everything looked right, which made it worse. Because when something feels wrong but looks normal, your brain starts turning on you. You start questioning your own memory, your own perception, yourself. I moved toward the stairs, paused at the bottom, listened. Nothing. No movement. No sound from my daughter's room. But that didn't calm me. It made me more careful. I started going up, one step at a time. And this time, I didn't avoid the creaks. Same as before. If something was up there, I wanted it to know I was coming. Halfway up, I noticed something. The light. It was on, at the top of the stairs. Soft yellow glow spilling down into the hallway. I stopped, because I hadn't turned it on. And my daughter, she never leaves that light on during the day. Never. She complains it's too bright. Always keeps her room dark in the morning. I felt that pressure again. Tightening. Building. But now it had direction. Up. Toward that light. I reached the top. The hallway stretched out in front of me. Same as always. Family photos on the wall. Small table near the window. Everything in place. Except for one thing. Her door was open. Not wide. Just slightly. Enough to show the light inside. I stood there, staring at that gap. Try to listen past my own breathing. Nothing. No movement. No sound. But the light didn't flicker. Didn't shift. Just steady. Like someone was inside. Waiting. Hey, I called out. Careful. Neutral. No answer. I stepped forward. Slow. Each step heavier than the last. Until I reached the door. And pushed it open. Gently. Her room looked normal at first. Bed unmade. Blanket half on the floor. Window closed. Everything exactly how it should be. Except, she wasn't in bed. My chest tightened instantly. Hey, I said again. Still nothing. And then I heard it. Behind me. A soft movement. From the hallway. I turned around fast. Too fast. Because for a second, I thought I saw someone. Standing near the stairs. Just outside the light. But when my eyes adjusted, there was nothing there. Empty hallway. Same as before. But my heart didn't slow down. Because I felt it. That presence. That sense that something had just been there. And moved. I stepped back into the hallway. Looked both directions. Nothing. But now the house felt smaller. Tighter. Like the walls had shifted closer. Dad. The voice came from downstairs. Clear. Normal. My daughter's voice. I froze. Because that didn't make sense. At all. I was just in her room. It was empty. Dad, she called again. And this time, there was something else in her voice. Confusion. Like she was trying to figure something out. I moved. Fast. Down the stairs. Skipping steps this time. Not caring about noise anymore. I reached the bottom and turned into the kitchen. And there she was. Standing near the counter. Still, in her pajamas. Looking at me. But not relieved. Not calm. Something else. What are you doing up there? She asked. My brain stalled for a second. What do you mean? I said. You just went upstairs, she replied. Flat. Certain. The room went quiet again. Heavy. Familiar. I just came from upstairs, I said slowly. No, she said. Too fast. Too confident. You were just in the kitchen. My stomach dropped. Because now it was happening again. Same pattern. Different person. I've been up there, I said. But even as I said it, I wasn't fully sure anymore. Because there was a gap. A small one. Between checking the rooms and standing at her door. A stretch of time that didn't feel complete. What did you see? I asked. Careful now. Watching her face. Watching for anything that didn't line up. She hesitated. Just for a second. Then said, You walked past me. Everything inside me went still. What? I came downstairs, she said. I saw you in the kitchen. My pulse hit harder. And? I asked. She shifted slightly. Uncomfortable. Like she didn't want to say the next part. You didn't look at me, she continued. You just walked past. A cold wave moved through me. Slow. Sharp. Where did I go? I asked. She pointed. Toward the stairs. You went up. My grip tightened on the counter behind me. Because that's impossible. I was already upstairs. I checked her room. I stood in that hallway. What were you doing? I asked. I thought you were mad, she said quietly. That caught me off guard. Why? She looked down. Then back at me. Because you were walking weird. There was again. Same word. Different voice. Same meaning. Wrong. How? I asked. She frowned slightly. Like she was trying to describe something she didn't understand. Slow, she said. Like you were trying not to make noise. My chest tightened. Exactly the same. Same detail. Same behavior. Two different people. Same observation. That doesn't mean anything, I said. But it didn't sound convincing. Not even to me. She didn't respond right away. Just kept looking at me. Studying. And then, she asked the question I wasn't ready for. Did you come downstairs twice? The room went quiet again. Completely. Because now it wasn't just a pattern. It was confirmation. From both sides. Same sequence. Same timeline. Two versions of me. Moving through the same space. At different times. I shook my head slowly. No. But even as I said it, something inside me shifted. Because I couldn't prove it. Not completely. Not anymore. She stepped back slightly. Just enough. Small movement. But it meant everything. Because it wasn't fear of the situation. It was uncertainty about me. Dad, she said quietly. And I saw it then. In her eyes. The same thing my son had. That hesitation. That moment of doubt. Like she was trying to decide if I was the same person she just saw. And that's when it hit me. Hard. Clear. And impossible to ignore. This wasn't about something being in the house. This wasn't about sounds or shadows or misplaced objects. This was about timing. Because if both of them saw me, at moments I wasn't there, then something wasn't just copying me. It was moving around me, filling the gaps, using the moments I couldn't account for. And suddenly, the house didn't feel like a place anymore. It felt like a loop, like something was repeating, adjusting, learning. And I was the only one who didn't know when I was actually inside it. I looked at my daughter, then toward the stairs, then back at her. Stay here, I said. She didn't argue, didn't move, just watched me, same way my son did. And that's when I realized they weren't just scared. They were waiting to see which version of me would move next. And for the first time since this started, I didn't know the answer either. I didn't go back upstairs. Not right away. Because now it wasn't just about checking rooms or finding something out of place. Now it was about something else. Control. Or at least the illusion of it. Stay here, I told my daughter again. She nodded. Didn't take her eyes off me. And that look, that hesitation, it stayed with me as I turned away. Because it wasn't just fear anymore. It was evaluation, like she was trying to confirm something, or disprove it. I walked into the living room. Slow, deliberate, trying to feel grounded, trying to stay present, because something was happening in the spaces between my actions, in the gaps I couldn't account for, and I needed to stop that, or at least understand it. I grabbed my phone from the table, checked the time, 7:03 a.m. That mattered, because I remembered looking at the clock earlier. When I poured the coffee, 6:48, 15 minutes. That's all this had been, 15 minutes of this. But it didn't feel like 15 minutes. It felt longer, stretched, fragmented, like time itself wasn't moving cleanly. I opened the camera, turned on video, pointed it at myself. Not for evidence, not for proof, for continuity. If something happened again, if I lost time, I wanted something that didn't rely on memory. I set the phone on the shelf, facing the hallway. Then I stepped back into frame, looked directly at it. My name is I stopped. That felt stupid, obvious, unnecessary. But then again, nothing about this was normal. I swallowed, started again. I'm in my house. It's 7:04 a.m. My voice sounded steady. That surprised me. I haven't left this room in the last 30 seconds. I paused, listening. Nothing. Then I turned, slowly, and walked toward the hallway. Every step measured, every movement intentional. Because if something tried to repeat, I was going to catch it, or at least see where it broke. I reached the base of the stairs, looked up, still empty, still quiet. Then, a sound, behind me, footsteps, in the living room. I turned instantly, too fast, because this time, I saw it, not clearly, not fully, but enough. A figure, moving past the camera. Same height, same build, same shape. It didn't look at me, didn't stop, just walked, calm, controlled, like it knew exactly where it was going. Toward the hallway, toward the stairs. My chest locked up, because I knew what I was seeing. I didn't want to say it, didn't want to believe it, but there's only so many ways your brain can process that. It was me, or something wearing me. I stepped forward, but stopped, because I realized something in that exact moment. If I followed it, I'd lose sight of myself, and that didn't make sense at first, but it felt right, like instinct had already figured something out my brain hadn't caught up to yet. So instead, I ran back to the camera, grabbed the phone, replayed the video, hands shaking now, real fear, not controlled anymore. I watched it, from the moment I stepped out of frame, to the second the figure appeared, and there it was, clear enough, undeniable, me, walking past the camera, same clothes, same posture, same face, but something about the movement was wrong. Subtle, but wrong. Too smooth, too precise, like someone copying behavior instead of living in it. And the worst part? The timestamp. 7:04 a.m. Exactly when I was still on screen. Speaking, standing still. Two versions of me. Same time, same house, same moment. My stomach dropped, because now it wasn't about memory gaps. It wasn't about missing time. It was overlap. I looked up slowly, toward the stairs, because I knew where that version of me was going. And I knew who was up there. Dad, my daughter's voice again, from the kitchen, right behind me. I turned, slow this time, careful. She was standing there, closer now, watching me. Same look, same hesitation. "What are you doing?" she asked. And for a second, I didn't answer, because now I didn't know what she saw. Did she see me standing here? Or had she just seen something else again? "Did you go upstairs?" she asked. My chest tightened. No. Her expression didn't change, didn't relax, didn't confirm, just stayed uncertain. "I just saw you," she said. Quiet. And there it was. Again. Same pattern. Same timing. Different angle. And suddenly, it all clicked. Not fully. Not logically. But enough. This thing, whatever it was, wasn't replacing me. It wasn't taking over. It was overlapping, moving through the same space. At the same time, just slightly out of sync. Like two recordings playing on top of each other. Almost identical, but not quite aligned. And my family, they could see both, depending on where they were standing, depending on when they looked. And that meant something else, something worse. Because if there were moments when they saw it instead of me, then there had to be moments when they saw me and it saw them. I felt that pressure again, stronger now, closer, Not outside. Not upstairs. Here. In the same room. I stepped back slowly, eyes moving across the space, looking for anything, any shift, any movement. And then, the smallest detail, the one thing that broke everything. My reflection, in the dark TV screen. I was standing there, exactly where I should be. But behind me, something else moved. Not fast, not obvious, just enough. A second figure, same outline, same posture, standing just a little too close. I didn't turn around. I couldn't, because I already knew. If I did, I'd see it. Fully, clearly. No more doubt, no more denial. And something told me that was the point of no return. Dad, my daughter whispered. Closer now. I didn't take my eyes off the reflection. Go to your room, I said. Quiet, controlled. She hesitated. I'll be right behind you. That part was a lie, but I needed her out of that space. She moved, slowly, reluctantly, up the stairs, and I watched her in the reflection, watched both versions of me, standing behind her, one still, one slightly shifting, and I understood something in that moment. Clear, cold, final. This wasn't about being copied, or replaced, or followed. This was about being shared, like something had found a way to exist in the same life, using the same space, the same movements, the same identity, and it didn't need to push me out. It just needed to stay close enough that no one could tell where I ended. And it began. I closed my eyes for a second, just one, then opened them again. The reflection didn't change. It was still there, still behind me, still waiting. I don't remember how long I stood like that. Seconds, minutes. It didn't matter, because eventually it stopped moving. And when I finally turned around, there was nothing there. Of course, there never is. Not when you're ready to see it. But that doesn't mean it's gone. Because here's the part one can't ignore. The part one still think about every single day. When I checked the video again later, there was only one version of me. No second figure. No overlap. Just me. Standing. Talking. Walking out of frame. Like nothing else ever happened. Like it was all normal. But my daughter, she still hesitates sometimes. Not always. Just enough. Just for a second. When she looks at me. Like she's checking something. Like she's waiting for it to line up. And I don't blame her. Because I do the same thing now. Not with mirrors. Not with cameras. With moments. With gaps. With silence. If you ever feel like something in your life is slightly out of sync, like people are reacting to you in ways that don't match what you remember, don't ignore that. Because not everything replaces you. Some things just learn how to exist next to you. Close enough to share your life. Close enough to borrow your identity. And far enough out of sync that you'll never be able to prove which version they saw. Or worse, which version you actually are.